Hi guys, Miss Gary here. From today on, I have decided to video myself and let's read these haunted stories together. Little background because it's pretty necessary for my story. This sounds corny, but I have always had a weird sense when it comes to the paranormal. Not like I can talk to ghosts or summon demons, but I do get this super weird feeling in my gut when something like this happens. Also, my mom is a skeptic and has never fully believed in ghosts. Anyways, me, my mom, my aunt, and my cousin planned a trip down to Florida for about 5 days. We got a pretty small Airbnb for us to stay in, and we are pretty excited for Disney World. The house was like this: walk in, and straight ahead of you is a kitchen. To your right, in a small dining room, and a small hallway to the bathroom. My room and my mom's room to the left was the living room, and my cousin's and aunt's room. My cousin and aunt had a volleyball tournament to go to on the fourth day, so they wouldn't be in the B&B for the fifth day. Uh, okay. It was a bit confusing for me too, but I'm not going to read it again. The first day, nothing crazy happened. No odd feelings, nothing. It was on the second day the first odd occurrence happened. At about 11 p.m., I thought I was the last one in the house awake, as everyone else was tired from the long day we had. Just as I was getting to sleep, I started to hear someone pressing the buttons of the microwave. I figured my cousin was warming up her leftovers from dinner, so I shook it off. However, the microwave wasn't turning on, only the buttons were being pressed. I thought I was just imagining things and went to bed. The morning of the third day came, and as we were driving to one of the Disney parks, I asked who was screwing with the microwave the night before. It turns out nobody was out of their rooms the entire night. However, my cousin heard the same thing and was annoyed as the constant beeping woke her up. We pointed out the creepiness and went on with our day. Typical. So, after the day was over, we got home. It got late, and I was the last one awake. By about 10 p.m., I started to hear faint knocking on the wall behind my bed. I figured it was neighbors, so I ended up not thinking much of it. That was until I turned the light off to go to sleep. As I was laying there, I saw a white orb come out slowly, floating from the corner of the doorway and make its way to the middle of the room, just to dart back where it came from. I nearly peed my pants and decided it was sleep with the lights on time. After I turned on the lights, the knocking started back up, but this time it was clearly coming from the wall connected to the bathroom, which debunked my neighbor's theory. The knocking continued from the wall behind me and the bathroom wall. I was also hearing the microwave buttons being pressed again. Once it started to slightly calm down, I was finally able to go to bed. It was about 2 a.m. at this point, so this went on constantly for about 4 hours. The next day was the fourth day of our trip. I decided to tell everyone what happened and what I saw, but was brushed off by everyone, including my mom. So I decided to just stay quiet about it for the rest of the day. By the time night came around, my cousin and aunt had left the Airbnb. Did my mom start to believe me? No. As it was getting later in the night, probably around 8 p.m., I heard the faint sound of knocking coming from behind my bed again, and I decided to go sit in my mom's room with her. But the knocking continued from the bathroom, loud enough for me and my mom to hear. Eventually, the knocking seemed to be coming from every room in the house, yet very faintly. And may I add, I was getting the worst gut feeling I have ever experienced. This really started to spook me and my mom. The breaking point was when a bottle that was in the vacant room was thrown loud enough for me and my mom to hear it across the house, roughly 30 feet away. By this point, the knocking was coming from every room in the house at the same time, very loudly. It felt like something out of an exorcist movie. So we decided to pack up and get a hotel for the night. Smart decision. As I was bringing my duffel bag out to the living room, there was a very loud, obvious footsteps stomping behind me. It sounded like someone was walking right on my heels. However, the trippiest part about this whole experience was when I picked up my duffel bag and exclaimed, "Okay, we are leaving." Dead silence. The knocking stopped. The horrible feeling of dread went away, and we left and got a hotel. My mom and I stayed at in Denver earlier this year, and we experienced some similar activity. I saw a shadow blot out the light coming from under my bedroom door. It was large enough to start at one side, go across, completely darken the light, then move the rest of the way across. And then something fell in the closet next to the bed, but the door was open to it and nothing was ever found that could have fallen. And I heard it bounce. My mom, in a room just down the hall, also saw the shadow the same night I did. And then the next thing, and then the next night, something pulled the covers off her completely in one move. She sat up and turned on the lamp, only to see the doorknob turning by itself. She had locked her room. As she watched that, something unseen hit her hard in her back, pushing her into the middle of the bed. She freaked out and turned to see this weird mist blob thing several feet high, colored pink and the texture of cotton candy. Sounds nuts, but this is what she said. That happened the second night. I told her that next day what had happened both nights to me, and she then told me what had happened both nights to her. We then freaked out on each other for not telling either person. We left that day and stayed in a motel the remaining couples of days in Denver. I had to go back by myself to take out trash and make sure we got everything. That was incredibly unnerving. Nothing in the literature about the place said the house was haunted. So it will be a year in March, and my friends and I went to Tennessee to celebrate my childhood best friend's marriage. It was a beautiful house on the Tennessee River, very private and peaceful atmosphere. It was on a natural trail, so it felt very isolated, though it was close enough to the city for us to go out and have fun. Anyway, we all had a great time in the city, then came back and started a fire in the fire pit. We hung out until we all got tired and eventually went to bed. We all decided to bunk in the same room that had three double bunks and one full bed. It was a large room, and we thought we could all watch a movie together in there, but ended up all deciding we needed sleep to drive back the next day. As my friends are used to falling asleep early, I am not, so I was still wide awake. So I got on my phone and started scrolling. I know, bad habit, but I had no other options of reading a book or anything. So as I'm laying there, I get this feeling, and it's not a good feeling. I have had one paranormal experience before this, and it didn't make me feel scared. I just felt confused most of the time. This was different though. I felt my hairs stand up like that feeling of something with ill intent was near me. I look up at the other bunks, my friends all look fine. So I continue scrolling, then I get the feeling again. I look up, and this time I look towards the full size bed where the bride and her little niece who tagged along were. I see a dark figure, head bent, looking down at the knees. My heart stopped, guys. I could not move. I kept thinking to myself, it's just a shadow from the stairway light coming in the room. I look down at my phone and get the courage to move my hands, text my boyfriend how scared I was, which didn't help considering he's not a believer in anything of that nature. So he just says, "You are just seeing things." I mean, come on. After this, I look up, the figure is gone, which did not make me feel better, only worse, because it only confirmed what I saw was not, in fact, a shadow from the light in the stairway. Otherwise, it would have been there. So I jumped from my bunk and bolted up the stairs and crashed on the couch. and I felt like a small child who just watched a horror movie. I kept hearing what sounded like creaking from the stairs. I thought of the old phrase, "It's just the house settling," to calm myself, then called my boyfriend again, and he talked me down, and I thought he's probably right, but I was still shaken up. Eventually fell asleep around 4 a.m. when the creaking stopped, but woke up around 6 and got the courage to go downstairs to get into my bag for clothes. A few minutes later, the maid of honor comes up and she looks confused and kind of freaked out and then says, Hey, did the bride come up here at all? I said, When? Because I only slept 2 hours and I've been up since 6. She then says, Well, I mean, about that time. I thought I saw her up and go up the stairs. I said, No, she didn't come up here. She says, Well, I know I saw someone go up the stairs. I'm pretty sure of that. Her face was white, and I said, Did you check the bed? She then goes back down and looks and says in confusion, She's in bed. And so I just stood in confusion and said, Well, what time did you say you saw her again? And she said, Well, only a couple minutes ago. It's just 6:05. And I said, Maybe you just heard me. I've been up here since last night. And she goes, Well, I thought I saw someone standing between their suitcases and the bed over her knees. That's when my heart dropped, and she knew I didn't have to say anything. My face said it all. She knew I saw it too. Needless to say, we were happy to get out and not investigate. I felt guilty I didn't stay downstairs with them to make sure they were okay after what she confirmed. But however, I was convinced that it was just my anxiety, and my boyfriend being very skeptical made me think maybe I was overreacting. But the look on my friend's face of pure confusion and fear confirmed it. I don't know if it's related, but a few months later, I learned one of the supposed most haunted places in Tennessee Hills Bar is located just 2 miles on the river from this location. Also, there was this really old cabin from the 1800s. They had decorated for looks on the property, and it definitely had some weird vibes too. It didn't help that they had these old pictures inside of it of the owners. I wish I remembered the names so I could see if they had any correlation to the Hills Bar Marina. I stayed in an Airbnb cabin in the Gold Coast Mountains with some friends. This cabin is about 100 to 200 years old. Many terrifying, unexplainable things happened over the course of the weekend. When we first arrived, the vibe was pretty off, and everyone felt very unsettled, moody, and drained. There were many strange objects in the house, such as scissors on the walls, uh, rusty nails, farm tools used as decor, unsettling masks on the walls, a heart with nails through it on the wall, rosary beads, etc. The first thing that happened was the first night. Two of us were downstairs, unable to sleep due to feeling very frightened and feeling watched. There was a lobby of sorts separating the front door to the living area slash rest of the house. The door leading to the lobby area was suddenly smashed so hard and loud that it rocked on its hinges. The next night, we were sitting on the deck and balcony over the forest, trying to recreate the sound of the bang on the door to our friends who were still asleep at the time. After hitting the wall 3 times to recreate it, 3 loud thuds were sounded around the corner of the balcony and a spare chair was dragged. We all decided to move a mattress into the one room so we all could sleep together as we felt unsafe. When three of us were up there, the window slammed shut. Later that night, when everyone was asleep at 3 a.m., I couldn't sleep. I saw the window that slammed shut had a shadow moving across it, so I decided to film it. During the video, I see a white figure move into the frame and back out again. I didn't look at the video until the next day, but it was a face clear as the day. When I finally fell asleep, I woke up to a man standing at the bed uh, at 6 a.m. He was dressed in indigenous clothing, a red, black, and white skirt with a red, black, and white sash, holding a spear and scowling at all of us. I absolutely panicked because I thought it was the Airbnb owners, and I woke up my friend who was in the bed. I absolutely panicked because I thought it was the Airbnb owners, and I woke up my friend who was in the bed next to me. She didn't see him, and eventually, when I looked back, he was gone. I ended up feeling extremely nauseous and asked my friend to leave early with me. As soon as I got about 1 kilometer away, I felt perfectly fine. Our last story for this video, guys. Staying in Iceland for 2 weeks in an Airbnb. The host couple are great and can't do enough, and you can tell they have incorporated hipster tastes into their design of the basement converted studio. A huge portrait of a crying child, sticky labels in the wall, welcome to the dungeon, smile, a fake trapdoor, proper rustic decor. Not my taste, but 2 weeks is fine. Anyway, both me and my partner wake up in cold sweats about 5 times a night, same time. We have resorted to sleeping with window open and hitting off, but still no avail. First time I woke up and she was frozen. She could talk and was responsive but not able to move, as if that sleep nightmare thing. She told me she had woke up and felt watched, so asked for a sign, saw nothing but her body froze. I wake up repeatedly and am transfixed on this old lamp on the side. Last night I could hear my GF calling to me from the bathroom about 2 a.m. I was trying to sleep and so ignored her. Next thing, I felt the bed pushed down as if she had just climbed in. I opened my eyes thinking something was going to be stood over me, but nothing, and my eyes were hooked straight on the lamp. Weird. Last night we were watching a horror film, Hereditary. Didn't think much of it. Halfway through the film, a big aspect is a girl haunting a kid by tongue clicking. From behind us, right behind us, we heard a cluck. We said it must be pipes or something, but we both had the feeling that something was aware of what was happening on the screen in the room and tried to imitate it. My god, the last one was scary, guys. What do you guys think? That's all for today. Bye.